Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and welcome back to day number 3 of March Madness. Today is also all about the mouse, which is a YouTube series where we document Disney layouts based on photo inspiration, and today's inspiration is this picture of Captain Hook with that rainbow behind him. Today's page map sketch is from April of 2022. I pulled out my Bella Boulevard My Life 365 collection because I'm going to be documenting photos from Disney when my mom and I went for Mother's Day. The collection has 2 pieces of paper that is specific to each month, and I wanted to use those papers. I also decided to pull out this yellow cardstock for my background and this really sparkly teal and silver paper. Now I'm still following along with not using white as my background, but I did need a base to set the papers on since I needed to stretch that floral paper across the 2 layouts. When I'm done, it's going to look like there is a floral background on the left and a yellow background on the right. So I did cut out the floral in a 1 1/4 inch strip because I wanted a 1 inch strip at the top and bottom, but I did want it to tuck behind this very glittery teal and silver paper. There are times when I pull things out and I have these great ideas, especially using things that are very busy like this teal background. And I think it's going to be a great idea. Halfway through, I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking. And then I walk away from it. This particular one, I walked away, and the next day I came back and I was like, it's not as bad as I thought. So I did continue on with the layout, but I did struggle because white backgrounds are definitely my preferred method of scrapbooking, but I am really trying to challenge myself. Now, the sketch calls for much smaller photos than what I wanted to include. I like having really large size photos. I did cut my 4x6 photos down. I do have one 3x4 photo that I'm also going to cut down more to a square, but I wanted to have these photos larger, so I did omit some of the aspects of the sketch, but you can really see that I have taken inspiration from the sketch, mainly in regards to my photo placement and the background paper. Like I said, these photos are from when my mom and I went to Disney for Mother's Day. It was just her and I that went, and we just spent the day enjoying a mother-daughter combo. So we allowed the cast members to take a bunch of photos of us, and that's really the photos that we end up with in regards to this particular layout. So over on the far left-hand side, I have 3 photos from the Haunted Mansion, the actual ride photo, and then there's a close-up of us in front of the castle, and then there is a magic shot with the hitchhiking ghost. On the right-hand side of the layout, there is us in front of the castle with a magic shot of Peter Pan at the top. We also have a magic shot of us blowing some flowers. Then we have a couple of photos of us in front of the castle. And then I added the photo of us with the rainbow. And that is the inspiration that I am using from the All About the Mouse YouTube hop. So I'm going to go ahead and add the floral paper directly to the white cardstock. But before I add the silver and teal paper on top, I decided that I would use the white background to matte my photos. I feel like the photos were getting lost on the silver and teal paper, and by matting them on the white cardstock, it really helped them stand out. I did use my layering guides to cut the perfect layers around them. I do have a tutorial for that, and I will link it here for you guys. I then added the washi tape to the back of the layout since I did cut out some pretty large holes with these photos. I did have to trim off a little bit of that teal paper on either side because I did not place it down correctly. I do want to encourage you guys to go check out everyone that is linked below that is playing along this month with this hop. I love seeing how people take inspiration from a Disney photo, and some people do create Disney layouts, some people don't, but there's so much inspiration for any of your layouts from this particular hop. After I got all of the photos cut out, then I added the paper on the right-hand side of the layout. The sketch calls for the floral paper to just go over just a little bit on the right-hand side. I cut it out at 3 inches, and the teal paper on the right-hand side is at 6 inches, so it does cover about half the layout. I then pulled out some white scraps, which I have a ton of white scraps, and I decided to matte all of the other photos on the white as well. I don't always matte my photos, and I got a question recently about that, like what made me decide to matte some photos and not others. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just whenever I lay the photos down, do they look okay? Do they need to be separated? I don't feel like there's a fast and hard rule in regards to it. I know that there probably is some rules about when you should and shouldn't mat your photos, or I know some people think that you should always mat your photos, but it's just based on a feeling. I was struggling a lot with this teal and silver paper. It was not lining up properly. I finally ended up just giving up on it. I took up the right-hand side of the paper and laid it down, and it lined up perfectly. I made sure that I cut it so that the lines were even, but then when I laid it out, it just didn't line up. So I was like, I'm not going to deal with it. It's going to be divided by the D-ring binders in my album, so it's not even going to be noticeable. Once I got the photos back down, I realized that I did not have enough space for my photos on the right-hand side. So I did have to pull up this photo of my mom and myself in front of the train station and trim it down just a little bit. I wanted to make sure that that photo and the photo that was below it was the same width. So I did pull out that photo of my mom and me blowing some confetti flowers and lined it up, which was kind of difficult since it had the white mat, but I finally did get it done. And then I had to use my layering guides to trim down the white cardstock again. Once I got that photo down, I still did not have enough room on my layout for my photos. I think that I had figured that the photos would fit, but then by adding the white mat, even though I did the smallest, which is a 1/16 of an inch, it was still too much. So I did have to end up trimming down the photo with the rainbow to make it all fit. I'm then going to pull out my T-square ruler to lay down all of these photos and make sure that they are all straight. And you can see what I have eliminated in the sketch. There was a centerpiece on the left-hand side. If my photos were a lot smaller, I could have added that piece, and I originally thought I was going to. I could have pulled that photo down a little bit more on the left-hand side. Now that I think about it, the photo of my mom and myself in front of the Haunted Mansion was supposed to be in the upper left, and the hitchhiking ghost was supposed to be down in the bottom, which would have given me the additional space. But somehow those two got mixed up, and it didn't turn out that way, which is okay, because sometimes layouts go in a different way than what you originally thought. I did have to move the photos around quite a bit on the right-hand side to get everything to line up. And then I pulled out the other sheet of paper that comes with the collection, and it has some cards as well as some tags, and so I'm going to use those. I'm actually going to end up using all 4 of the tags as well as that card that says Happy Mother's Day. I added the Happy Mother's Day over to the far left, and then I'm going to trim out all of these tags. I first trimmed them down, and then I used my scissors to cut off the top edges, and then I'm going to pull out my 1/4 inch circle punch to cut out the tag topper hole piece at the top. At first I didn't think I was going to use that green one, but then I changed my mind, so I did have to end up cutting that one out as well. I'm going to cover up the floral in both the green and the white, so you're not even going to be able to see them in the finished layout. I did decide to add the green, the white, and the pink tag above the photo over on the far right-hand side, and then I'm going to pull in the yellow from the right-hand side of the layout over to the left by adding that yellow tag behind the Happy Mother's Day card. I decided to trim out this 1/4 inch strip of the striped paper because I thought that I could add it to the top and bottom of the layout, but when I added it next to the florals, it was just way too busy. Then I thought about adding it over on the far right-hand side. Didn't like that either. So I went back to the paper and I found this one banner strip that says all kinds of fun Mother's Day things. It says Super Mom, for all you do, #1 Mom, many thanks, and you are beautiful. Now, unfortunately, some of the words do get cut off, but you are able to read the Super Mom, for all you do, and the #1 Mom. I did decide to add that 4x4 card of Happy Mother's Day up on Fun Foam, and I struggle with putting it down. I wasn't really thinking at all. I should have adhered the yellow tag first, but then I went ahead and put the liquid adhesive on, and then I realized that I needed to put the adhesive on the tag, so I pulled that up, went to add the adhesive to the tag, and put the Mother's Day card right on top of the liquid adhesive that was on my layout. So I had to get that off. It was just a hot mess, but I eventually do get the left-hand side of the layout down. For For the right hand side of the layout, I'm going to layer these tags up. I put the green and pink one down first, but then realized that I needed to have the white one because I wanted the green and the pink to be behind the white one. And then I pulled out my T-square ruler to make sure I got the photo down straight. I really like that I used the jute twine in this layout because this layout is very bright with the yellows and the pinks and that teal. And then I feel like having the jute twine, which has that wood grain effect to it, really tones down some of the brightness. So I did add the jute twine to all three of the tags on the right hand side as well as the tag on the left hand side. I don't do a whole lot of layouts in these colors, but I really like when I do break out of my mold and get those done. Over on the far right, I did add the tag that says beautiful day. And then I also added a tag that says mother like no other. And I added that right above the photo of my mom and I, right below the tags, still covering up some of those florals on the tags. Then I pulled out the puffy stickers and was looking through them, trying to find the ones that would match with these two papers. And I figured it was going to be the florals. So I added the florals to each one of the clusters, 2 on the right and 1 on the left. Of course, having to pull out my liquid adhesive because we all know that those don't stick very well. I then pulled out my Disney embellishment book because I wanted to add a couple of Disney embellishments. I first tried these 2 little girls because I thought they were super cute, but they were way too large. I then tried this half Mickey head that had a bunch of words on it. Again, it was too large. So I did settle on this little tiny tag over on the far left that has a Mickey head as well as a red heart on it. And then I found a flare that has a red heart and the word love in the Disney font. Then I found a white button that is in the Mickey head, so I added that up to the upper right-hand side. And I also found a little Mickey hand, added that over to the left, and finally added a white little Mickey enamel shape over on the left-hand side as well. And then that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. If you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.